They don't know what is going on among each other. That's going to be the theme of today's show. Welcome. Hello. For our full show viewers, if you hear me reference Saturday in some of the segments today, it's because some of the segments were recorded on Saturday. But so much to go through. Let's start with Elon Musk. And I referenced that cluelessness between different members of the Trump administration. Now, Trump is currently pushing Elon Musk, kicking Elon Musk out of the administration, as he clearly is, as Harry Enton put it, political poison. But I want to check in on what Trump said before getting to Elon's take on this tariff stuff and then him feuding with different Trump administration officials. This is what Trump said he was going to bring to America, okay?
America powerful again. Make America wealthy again. Make America healthy again. Make America strong again. Make America proud again. Make America safe again. And we will make America great again. We are going to make it greater than ever before. So Wisconsin, get out.
Something's very off about that video. Something happening to him. But I want to keep circling back to the theme that I just referenced, which is I don't want to continue rationalizing the irrational. So as we go through, as I said, starting with Elon, but a bunch to sort of rapid fire go to as to over the weekend what the responses from Trump administration officials have been to the economic chaos that Trump launched us into. Instead of, he talks about making the country wealthy again and all that, the opposite is taking place. And there are so many pundits that are bringing to you different thoughts on what the strategy is here. Trump's posting a video saying he did it on purpose, but then he says he's not doing it on purpose. Then it's to negotiate, it's not to negotiate. And then Elon Musk is acting like the ultimate end goal here, publicly refuting what it is that Trump has been saying is to have free trade across the United States and the EU as one example. I think we need to come to terms with the fact that maybe they just don't know what Trump wants, what's going on, and Trump doesn't know what's going on and what he wants. That might just be the conclusion. Elon here starting what will end up to be a feud between him and officials as a walkthrough by saying this about the tariffs.
And I'm hopeful, for example, with the tariffs, that at the end of the day, I hope it is agreed that both Europe and the United States should move, ideally, in my view, to a zero tariff situation, effectively creating a free trade zone between Europe and North America. And that would be that's what I hope occurs. And also more freedom of people to move between Europe and North America, if they wish. If they wish to work in Europe or wish to work in America, they should be allowed to do so, in my view. So that has certainly been my advice to the president.
Wow. Our little AI billionaire supervillain there, as riveting as ever in his articulation of that. But he is saying, do you know what you call that? Do you know you call that, MAGA, what he just advocated for? Number one, the opposite of what Trump is advocating. So a public, I think it's because he feels more freedom to do this now that he's on his way out. Supposedly, we'll see if that completely manifests, but it seems to be headed that direction. That's what the report says. Trump confirmed it. But it's also a word we like to call globalization. To erase those economic, social, cultural, work barriers between countries is the very globalization that Trump and MAGA and Elon have been railing against for all this time, and that the tariffs are supposed to do the opposite objective. And it escalated from there. The Independent reports Musk lashes out at architect of Trump's tariffs in first public comments about shock policy. So Trump sends everything to chaos. Elon seeing his stock portfolio, his specific stocks like Tesla or Tesla completely collapsing, despite Trump saying, again, that he loves Tesla, but he's actually doing, like he's doing to so many companies in the United States, damage to it. And what Elon's going to respond to is Peter Navarro, who helped to craft this plan, saying this about Elon's refutation of the tariff policy.
It was interesting to hear Elon Musk at the beginning talk about a zero tariff zone with Europe. He doesn't understand that. And the thing that's, I think, important about Elon to understand, he sells cars. That's what he does. And if you look, for example, at the Tesla factories in Texas, they're assembly plants, and they get a lot of their content from China, Mexico, Japan, and Taiwan and elsewhere.
And then in response to that, you had Elon Musk responding to someone saying Peter Navarro's very smart, has a PhD in economics. Elon Musk said, a PhD in econ from Harvard's a bad thing, not a good thing. Results in the ego brains is greater than the one problem. Okay. And then he said, he ain't bullshit about Peter Navarro. Okay. Well, while we're on the topic of Peter Navarro, you have him. And what is so wild is there's no consistency. Navarro doesn't know what he's supposed to be saying. We're going to get to Lutnik. Lutnik doesn't know how, he doesn't know what he's supposed to be saying. And so it's making it even more painful for people and confusing for people, because the people who are supposed to explain to us what they're doing. Okay, you're going to stab us in the leg. You've established that. But can you explain what we should expect? How many times you're going to stab us? No, they're just all over the place.
You have talked a lot about how tariffs, and the president's talked a lot about how tariffs can be helpful as a tax, effectively, as a way to raise revenue here in the United States.
Tariffs are tariffs, and they do raise revenues. They will. I see them as a tax cut, Andrew, because they're going to help pay.
Wait. It's funny that with all of Elon's disaster, I guess on this, he's... we can't even take sides. They're both being crazy. But now Peter Navarro, who's the antagonist to Elon in this story, is saying that a tariff is a tariff. It's not a tax hike, but it does increase revenue. But it's a tax cut. But how does it increase revenue? Because it's a tax.
Effectively, as a way to raise revenue here in the United States.
Tariffs are tariffs, and they do raise revenues. They will. I see them as a tax cut, Andrew, because they're going to help pay for the biggest tax cut in American history. Every dollar that we extract from foreigners who are cheating us is going to go to the American public in the form of debt reduction and tax cuts, including, for example, in our auto industry. Anybody who buys an American-made car is going to get a healthy tax cut. We were given $7,500 away for...
So this whole disaster is getting so bad that even Elon, who for a while was Trump's bestie of besties, even he's struggling to defend it and is outright contradicting it. So that's the Elon piece of this. Before moving on from it completely, CNN reports Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency is expected to take aim at the Department of Homeland Security in the coming days, seeking potentially major cuts to personnel across its agencies, including the U.S. Secret Service. DHS is bracing for what could amount to significant layoffs. This week, two sources said there was a back and forth negotiation and lobbying between DOJ, the White House, and Homeland Security leadership, with each of the department's components expected to be impacted differently. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, is expected to be decimated, something that Trump indeed said. So DOJ, or Elon on his way out, is doing as much damage there as possible. And what that means in people's lives will be horrendous if we do indeed see, as I expect that we will, FEMA gutted, different parts of the Department of Homeland Security dismantled. Hopefully the Elon exit will be sooner rather than later. It's difficult given the economic chaos to remember that that's still going on in the background. So while they're all on TV creating a bunch of news stories being very discombobulated about what they're supposed to, what the administration's talking points are. They're all contradicting each other. They're confused. Elon can't even stick with the program. Meanwhile, there's still so much underlying news about the damage that's being done by the administration. So we can't forget about that. But moving from that to, I referenced Lutnik, to see the chaos of these defenses, the Commerce Secretary, who's become a reoccurring character on the show because he's bonkers. He was asked here by the Face the Nation host, why are you adding tariffs to islands that don't have any people and don't do any trade with America because they just, it's home to some penguins.
Stand in the Rose Garden holding up that chart that you helped make. that wasn't actually tariffs. That was actually confusing to investors because it was some kind of other formula, and the countries themselves seemed kind of random. Like, why are the Heard and McDonald Islands, which don't export to the United States and are quite literally inhabited by penguins, why do they face a 10% tariffs? Did you use AI to generate this?
No, the idea.
No. Listen, Margaret, the penguins have taken advantage of the United States for too long, and Trump is not going to stand for that. The penguins have not said thank you to Trump even once. Not even once, Margaret. No.
By penguins. Why do they face a 10% tariffs? Did you use AI to generate this?
No, the idea is
why are they on the list?
Left off. Because the idea, what happens is, if you leave anything off the list, the countries that try to basically arbitrage America go through those countries to us. Any country, like we had tariffs, the president put tariffs on China, right, in 2018, and then what China started doing is they started going through other countries to America.
Right.
They just built through other countries through America. And so the president knows that, he's tired of it, and he's going to fix that. So basically he said, look, I can't let any part of the world be a place where China or other countries can ship through them. So he ended those loopholes.
Through the Heard Islands. I love in the background, she's like, oh, I don't know if that argument is convincing it. No, listen, Margaret. Listen, what's going to happen is they're going to, a country that we are terrific could work with the penguins to use their island as a loophole. Then what are you going to do then, Margaret? What are you going to do then? Yeah, Howard, he tries, a lot of them have been doing this. I don't know if it's specifically being coached or just a lot of people believe that if you keep a lighthearted sort of tone of voice and personality, then it couldn't possibly be perceived as utter panic and confusion. But we see through it, and Howard has that in spades, that little contradiction where you can see in his eyes, he knows this is crazy. He does. I do think he's a loyalist, but I think even he's panicking. But your job is to defend Trump. So he ends up doing it. And it's this weird blend of confusion and bizarre words that come out of their mouth that don't make sense to anybody. And this smile and performative joy. Meanwhile, a pro-Trump, pro-MAGA billionaire, Bill Ackman, who supported Trump in the lead up to this election and had very positive things to say about him, is now switching, as so many people are. Daily Beast reports MAGA billionaire dramatically turns on Trump's tariff cheerleader. Bill Ackman said Howard Lutnik was indifferent to the mess he helped create before questioning the Commerce Secretary's economic acumen. A MAGA billionaire sensationally turned on Howard Lutnik, calling his character into question, and then he ended up retracting those comments a little bit, but kept his criticism. He said that Lutnik is indifferent to the chaos affecting everyday Americans. I just figured out, he wrote, why Howard Lutnik is indifferent to the stock market and the economy crashing. He and Cantor are long bonds. He profits when our economy implodes. It's a bad idea to pick a Secretary of Commerce whose firm is leveraged long fixed income. It's an irreconcilable conflict of interest. Then later went on to say, it was unfair of me to lash out at Howard Lutnik, but still there's a major policy error. I don't think he's pursuing his self-interest. I'm sure he's doing the best he can for the country while representing the president as Commerce Secretary. It is not an easy job, and we don't know how the sausage was made. The sausage bill was burnt to a crisp, and now it is the job of Howard Lutnik to come out from the kitchen and to pretend like that's not the case. All the sausage has been burnt, but previously, you had Bill Ackman saying this about Howard Lutnik.
Trade, Howard Lutnik is going to be a very strong advocate for promoting our United States and trade in a thoughtful way.
Yeah. So many people like Bill were saying the opposite of what now they're going to be saying because they were doing the rationalization that we keep coming back to of Trump, this proactive sane washing of Trump's insanity, insisting that Trump was going to be what he was telling us he wasn't going to be.
We're stepping into, I would say, the most pro-growth, pro-business, pro-American administration I've perhaps seen in my adult lifetime. Certainly, we just had a nice little ceremony, and CEOs of broad array of big American companies, and I would say everyone is incredibly enthusiastic, really about.
Yeah, okay, I know. I saw too that Ackman was saying something about how we couldn't have imagined this would have been the approach. And listen, I get it. I sympathize with it. It would have been really, really, really difficult to predict what Trump was going to do if you didn't listen to his words, right? Like if you didn't actually listen to his speeches or his policy prescriptions or every interview he did ever, then it would be very difficult to predict. Otherwise, it was pretty easy. All of you, or many of you, were on this ride with us. We were covering what Trump was saying. And you have all these clips now recirculating of Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom and Democrats and me saying, hey, this is what Trump is saying. And if he did it, it would be bad. And so many people like Bill Ackman, so many people like Jim Cramer, so many people were out going, no. When he says he's going to do this trade policy that would destroy the global economy, what he means is that he'll not do it. I guess he's going to do something different. When he says he's going to be like the most deranged president we've ever had, what he means is he's just going to be like Biden. He'll just be sort of normal and what. Maybe don't do that. How about we take if we had taken in the campaign his words to mean what they mean, then we wouldn't be in this situation. But then Bill Ackman posted this long thing saying, the country is 100% behind the president on fixing a global system of tariffs that has disadvantaged the country. But business is a confidence game, and confidence depends on trust. He goes on to call on Trump to, the president has an opportunity, he says, to call a 90-day timeout, negotiate and resolve unfair asymmetric tariff deals, and induce trillions of dollars of new investment. He has an opportunity to do a 90-day pause. We've already had days and days and weeks and months of pauses on his original announcement of tariffs. But he's saying that the tariffs are the point, that they are going to solve our trade issues. With Elon, with Ackman there, with a lot of, even some of Trump's advisors who are out defending him, but making it sound like this is really just a negotiation, that would require a negotiation. If you want to negotiate, you have to negotiate. Which means you have to lay out what your demands are. Trump's not doing that except for really, really irrational ones. But even then, he won't promise that would mean the suspension of the tariffs. If he does indeed drop them and say that he got some trade concession, that would have been the most destructive, light the whole house on fire because you have a stain on the wall sort of approach to global trade. He could have, just like every other trade deal that has been made, laid out his demands, you can use tariffs. If you don't agree to these terms, then we'll do XYZ trade-wise, tariff-wise. But he hasn't done that. He's just slapped them on. And now every defender of his is coming up with different and contradictory explanations for why he's doing that. And I think it's not because there's some strategy, as a lot of the MAGA accounts online are telling us, not because ultimately we're going to come out the other end, it's going to be so great, but because they literally don't know what they're doing. Here's more of Howard Lutnik.
Is a 10% tariff permanent? Protect them. Well, remember, this is a national security issue.
I got it. Is the 10% tariff
our budget
permanent?
Deficit. That, the laws of America, he would like it to be that we need to protect the companies that invest here, and we are going to protect the companies that invest here. That is the policy of the United States of America. That's why trillions of dollars are coming here. The ripoff of the United States of America is over. All these companies are going to come and invest here. That's what they're doing. That's why they've committed trillions of dollars. They know this is the economy.
Mr. Secretary,
this is the place to go.
Mr. Secretary, the campaign's over. You won. So I'm asking what the plan
Yes, Margaret. Yes.
is. So the Treasury Secretary said on another network, we're going to hold the course. It's not the kind of thing you can negotiate away in days or weeks. That makes it sound like the tariffs are staying in place at least for days or weeks. Is that correct, or is the president considering
I say with love, respect, and admiration for Margaret, the answer is they don't know. So I appreciate her asking this, but really this whole discussion is a waste of oxygen because they don't know. That at some point they've said, yeah, it's permanent. At some point they said, no, we could do it if they give us this, that, or the other thing. We could release them. At other points they've said, I'm not going to tell you, like you saw there with Howard. They don't know. So everyone's just waiting at the whims of Trump. He literally posted a video claiming he was crashing the stock market on purpose because of some genius economic plan he has, and then got asked and said, no, of course I'm not. But what? You just posted that. No. Fake news. Who are you with? Who are you with? NBC is so fake. You're a failing outlet. But you posted that. What? So Howard doesn't know. He's going to give meaningless answers like her asking, is the 10% tariff permanent? Him saying, well, remember, this is a national security issue. All right. And I like pizza. What? That's random. And then, is it permanent? And he says, the laws of America are the laws of America. What is this? Like poetry? What are you talking about? And then about the penguin. The reason why people are bringing up this island of penguins anecdote is because it shows there's no way this was carefully analyzed. This reciprocal, which is not based on a formula, it's not reciprocal tariff policy. Because if it had been thoughtfully assessed and really combed over, they wouldn't be tariffing places that don't have any people. But Brooke Rollins, the agriculture secretary, was not happy with this line of questioning.
President Trump laid out with
By the way, I forgot to say this, Jaden. We are a while in. Click the dang subscribe button if you haven't yet. I'd appreciate that.
a giant graphic of all the countries where tariffs were going to be, what he called reciprocal tariffs, were going to be imposed. And you're imposing a 10% tariff on the herd in McDonald Islands. The herd in McDonald Islands have 0 human inhabitants. They have 0 exports. They have 0 imports. They do have a lot of penguins. Why are you putting import tariffs on islands that are entirely populated by penguins?
Well, I mean, come on, Jake. Obviously, here's the bottom line. We live under a tariff regime from other countries. We have too long
the McDonald Islands is not imposing
the idea that America goes first. I mean, come on. Whatever. Listen, the people that are leading this are serious, intentional, patriotic, the smartest people I've ever worked with. I did not come up with the formulas. I'm the ag secretary. I studied agriculture at Texas A&M.
Listen, Jake, I did not come up with this. Whoever did come up with this was clearly multiple forms of inebriated when they did. But what I can tell you is that these are serious people and smart people. It is funny when you have to say these are serious people. Like, the question from Jake wasn't, are these serious people? She just volunteered that word. I promise they're serious. They know what's happening. They know what's going on. I think you're projecting a little bit. Then some MAGA account, just to give you a sense of how people randomly out in the World Wide Web are dealing with this, who are supportive of Trump. I guess justify the tariffs with the video we're about to watch. It says tariffs or this. Tariffs. Okay, so tariffs, ? Or this video. I guess that these are supposedly Kamala supporters. So they're saying, do we either want Trump's tariffs or this if Kamala had won?
Gen Z boss and a mini. Gen Z boss and a mini. Itty bitty titties and a ball. Itty bitty titties and a ball. 5'3" and an attitude. 5'3" and an attitude. Secret product in the trench. Secret product in the trench. New friend green and a sneaky link. New friend green and a sneaky link. Fake 10 hands in a hoop. Fake 10 hands in a hoop.
Jaden. It's something to think about. Let's see. So the whole global economy is reeling. Businesses are panicking. Workers are panicking. Inflation set to rise. GDP forecasts are collapsing. People's retirement savings are plummeting. But those ladies did seem to be saying they did seem to be very happy. So that's something to think about. Tariffs are this, tariffs. Max here is so opposed to whatever the heck that was. I don't even know what the point is. There a joke I'm missing that he's referencing? What? So opposed to that he's good with collapse the global economy because I don't want to have to see girl boss videos. Okay, that's, it's a thought. It's an interesting pitch. Girl boss videos or collapse the global economy. And guess what? The collapse of the global economy is still gonna have girl boss videos. They're not going away. Because is that what that video? I don't even know what that video was. Oh, it's like that's the internet. Max, sorry, people are gonna make videos. Wow. That's what it is too. So I'm assuming those are liberals, which is why he's making it an either or option. That is it. It so resembles what MAGA is now. Oh, we will murder all of us. Not literally, well, in some cases, but sort of we should take down this entire ship because I hate the liberal next to me, even though you're on the ship too. So we're all going to drown, but at least you can look over it. And while you can go, you're a liberal and I hate you. That's weird. It's just a weird thing. Own the libs by crashing the economy. Okay. I mean, weird priority. More from Lutnik. He's just on all these shows and he's struggling.
He announced it and he wasn't kidding. The tariffs are coming. Of course they are.
Okay. Is the administration considering any kind of offset, any kind of subsidy? You mentioned the first administration, there was some bailout to farmers to help them deal with the pain from Chinese retaliation. Are you looking at that now?
Not that I have not participated in any meetings with respect to that. The country is focused on, you realize trillions of dollars of factories are going to be built in America. That's huge GDP. The factories being built in America are huge.
That takes
GDP.
years, and you've said that robots are going to fill those jobs. So those aren't union
it's really automated
jobs.
It's automated factories, robots. Factories, but the key is who's going to build the factories, who's going to operate the factories, who's going to make them work. Great American workers.
You
we
said
are going
robots
to replace
on other networks.
I'm so uncomfortable. I don't like you, Howard, but I still feel bad. This is tough. This is tough to watch. Yeah, he's been going around saying, because people will go, well, can you explain the economics of how will things not get more expensive if a tight labor market, unless you mess that up completely, which very well you could, but a tight labor market where to attract workers you would have to pay way more than was being paid before to people in different places with different, buying power. And so price would raise presumably, right? And they'll go, no, because robots are going to be the ones making the stuff here in America. Wait, then why are you saying this is to create more jobs? Oh, because... And then what he'll go on to say is because it'll be Americans who are servicing the automated creation of things. And the people working to sort of design and do maintenance on the robots will be, but those will be jobs available to people with just not much education, he said, right? Your sort of lower wage jobs will now be going to people who, instead of working at the factory, are working on the robots that work at the factory. But none of it makes sense because, first of all, to work on something complicated like machinery, you would have to have a certain level of education. So then all of a sudden, you're not creating the types of jobs that you were saying for the populations that you were saying you're going to. And second of all, necessarily companies would only invest in automation if it decreased the human labor that was necessary, because they're trying to save money so they don't have to hire as many people, which is why they invest in automation. So it all doesn't make any sense economically, but they don't even try to really make it make sense. He just goes back to, we're going to be strong and we're going to fix stuff and Americans are excited about it. And that's why Margaret said, the campaign's over, you won, but now you got to explain it, not in campaign speak and talking points. The really upsetting part we'll keep coming back to about all of this is that That's all they have is campaign speak. And if the media did a better job of exposing that during the campaign, maybe we wouldn't be here now. Share your thoughts in the comments, support the show, get the members only bonus show by clicking that join button below.